Moving to that cozy little bungalow in Pine Ridge, Oregon, after my messy breakup felt like a fresh start, a chance to rebuild for me and my two girls, Sarah and little Emma. But boy, did it spiral into chaos faster than I could have imagined. Right off the bat, the second day we're unloading boxes, this grizzled old-timer next door, Mr. Donovan, marches over with a tape measure in hand, squinting at my backyard like I'd just planted a bomb there. He barks out, "That oak tree of yours is hanging over my property line, shading my vegetable patch. It's killing my tomatoes. And if you don't chop it down, I'll drag the HOA into this and make your life hell." I laughed it off at first, thinking it was just some grumpy neighbor thing after all. I checked the surveys during closing. Everything looked kosher, but Donovan wasn't joking. Turns out, he'd been nursing this grudge since the 90s, when the previous owners let the tree grow wild, and it reminded him too much of how his late brother lost a similar fight over land back in their family farm days, fueling this deep-seated need to control every leaf and twig around him. The HOA, run by this sharp-tongued widow named Mrs. Whitaker, who ruled those meetings like a queen bee, probably because her husband left her nothing but power in the community after he jumped right in, citing some obscure bylaw about encroaching foliage that could lead to fines up to $1,000 a month. They sent me letters, official-looking ones with red stamps, demanding I hire an arborist or face a lien, and suddenly my dream home felt like a trap, with Donovan smirking from his porch every time I mowed the lawn. It escalated quick. Those HOA gatherings turned into battlegrounds. I'd show up in my work jeans, heart pounding, laying out photos and old deeds, saying, "Look, Mrs. Whitaker, this tree's been here longer than any of yous. It's not hurting anyone, and my girls love swinging from its branches." But she'd cut me off with that icy stare, replying, "Rules are rules, Mr. Riley. We can't have newcomers like you disrupting our harmony. Donovan's been a pillar here for decades, and if he says it's a problem, we'll enforce it." Donovan would lean in then, his voice dripping with sarcasm. "Yeah, kid, you think you can just breeze in from the city with your fancy truck and ignore the way things work? That tree's a thief, stealing my sunlight, just like folks steal opportunities around here." I could see the pain in his eyes. The rumors said he'd lost his job years ago to some corporate buyout, and this tiny patch of dirt was all he had left to lord over. But man, it stung, feeling like an outsider in my own backyard. The stress built up inside me like a pressure cooker. Nights I'd pace the kitchen, ignoring calls from my ex about the girls' school stuff, snapping at Sarah when she asked why I was always mad, wondering if I'd uprooted us for nothing. My buddy Jake from work would swing by with beers, listening as I vented. "It's not just the tree. Man, it's like they're ganging up, 'cause I'm the new guy. No roots here, and Donovan's got this vendetta, maybe jealous I got the house he once bid on or something." Jake nodded, chuckling a bit to lighten it. "Sounds like a bad Western. Next thing, they'll challenge you to a duel at dawn over zucchini rights." But deep down, it ate at me. The fines started piling, my savings dipped, and I felt this knot of anger and helplessness twisting tighter, questioning every decision. Like, why fight a system rigged by old grudges and HOA politics that thrived on dividing folks over inches of earth? Emma got sick one weekend, nothing major, just a fever, but watching her sleep under that oak shadow through the window, I hit rock bottom, collapsing on the couch, tears blurring my vision, whispering to the ceiling, "God, I've battled this tooth and nail, poured my heart into proving I'm right. But I'm exhausted. If this mess is yours to fix, take the wheel. I'm letting go, resting in whatever comes." It sounded cheesy even to me, like something from those late-night infomercials, but I meant it. No more frantic emails to lawyers, no more poring over maps. Instead, I focused on the girls, building a fort under the tree, grilling burgers with Jake, even waving politely at Donovan when he glared over the fence. It was scary, feeling vulnerable, like I was waving a white flag, but there was this quiet peace settling in, a shift where the weight lifted just a tad, and I started sleeping through the night, trusting that maybe stepping back wasn't weakness, but wisdom. Then, out of the blue, the twist hit like a thunderclap. A routine county inspection for some roadwork nearby uncovers this buried utility line running right under Donovan's garden. And get this, it traces back to an old easement tied to my property, meaning that overhanging branch wasn't encroaching. It was actually protecting his soil from erosion that could have wrecked his whole setup. The inspector knocks on my door first, all official in his hard hat, explaining, Mr. Riley, we've got records showing your tree's roots stabilized this line without it. Your neighbor's patch would have caved in years ago. I stood there, jaw dropped. As word spread, Donovan storms over that afternoon, face pale instead of red for once, stammering, I didn't know. Thought you were just being stubborn, like my brother back then, always taking what wasn't his but this. Hell, that tree saved my tomatoes more than shaded him. There was a crack in his voice, almost apologetic, and I could have rubbed it in, but instead I offered, no hard feelings, Donovan, life's full of misunderstandings. How about we share some seeds next spring? The HOA meeting that followed was pure cinema. Mrs. Whitaker at the head of the table, shuffling papers nervously as the inspector presented the findings, her usual smugness crumbling when members started whispering about how she'd pushed Donovan's agenda, cause he funded their annual picnic or whatever petty alliance they had. She finally mutters, we may have overlooked some details, Mr. Riley. The fines are rescinded, and we'll amend the bylaws to prevent this nonsense. Donovan even stood up, clearing his throat. I owe you an apology. Kid got carried away with old ghosts. Let's bury the hatchet. Maybe over a beer? I nodded, feeling this wave of vindication wash over me, not gloating, but relieved, as the room erupted in awkward claps, and later, walking home with the girls skipping ahead, the oak tree rustling like it was laughing along. Everything felt aligned, like some higher hand had orchestrated the reveal just when I'd stopped forcing it. Standing there in the yard that evening, sun setting golden through the branches, Emma tugging my hand saying, Daddy, the tree's our hero now. I couldn't help but chuckle. Hero, huh? But it got me thinking deeper. Was that inspection pure coincidence, or something more, like divine timing rewarding the rest over the rage? Makes you ponder those community clashes, where grudges fester over land and power, blurring lines between right and spite. Part of me wonders if Donovan's change of heart was genuine, or just fear of looking the fool. After all, he still glances over sometimes, like old habits die hard. What about you? Ever dealt with a neighbor feud that flipped on its head, or an HOA gone rogue? Was letting go the smart move, or should I have pushed harder for justice from the start? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Share if it was fair play or foul, how you'd handle the grudges, or what community rules really protect versus divide. Hit that like button if this hit home, subscribe for more raw stories like this, and share with someone stuck in their own backyard battle. Thanks for hanging out with me today.